Hello and welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today we're going to talk about Bobi Klintman. We've got an interview today where we're going to break down film with Bobi, one of the more fun prospects in the 2024 NBA draft. Just a really exciting, like awesome personality, as you guys will get to see, and also just an awesome shooter, cutter, and has a real chance to be an impactful offensive player in the NBA, as well as a solid defensive player given his size at the 3-4 position. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What's this gonna be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie.
Step and
But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. Bobi Klintman is here with me, and we're going to dive into some tape. We're going to talk about some of what he did really well this year. We're going to talk about like a couple of areas that, we talked about earlier on, and, things where, like you said, you kind of go a little bit fast sometimes.
Yes.
But more than that, like I do want to talk about what you do incredibly positively, because I think there is a lot that you bring to the table just from a potential perspective in the NBA, right? So this first clip here, it's at the 9:30 mark of one of their games against Tasmania. You're going to take the ball out of bounds, and it's just beautiful. You're just run and grab and go up the court, and then you're going to attack the glass, and you're going to just absolutely throw down off of 2 feet, right?
Mhm.
And then the second one here, I kind of want to jump into as well. Like you said earlier, you play a very European style. You want to kind of grab and go when you get a chance. And I love the body control. I love the Euro step here.
Yes, sir.
The biggest thing that I think you bring from a potential NBA perspective is that ability to play in transition, get downhill, use your skills in terms of ball handling, in terms of potentially shooting. We just saw you finish at the basket, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you think that those skills translate to the NBA, given what you saw this year with Cairns?
I feel like they translate pretty good. Just like pushing the floor, like always playing. Like you see, I try to push the ball here, get it back in the open space. Like it's a lot of spacing in the NBA, so like always like cutting, finding like the open spacing. Like I feel like I'm pretty good at that, so I feel like that would translate pretty good.
Yeah.
Like even with spot up shooting, and just cutting and getting dunks and stuff like that will help a lot at the next level. But also like making plays for others, like because when I get this open, like I try to pass the ball forward here, like to make a play for Taryn, but then I see the spacing, and then I'm just like running into it. So like it's just simple. I don't know. I have a hard time explaining it, but it just happens, man.
Well, what I love here is I think you do just like intuitively recognize this open
Yeah.
space, right?
Yeah.
Like you see that Tasmania, because Milton Doyle here has committed to Taryn, he has to go and stop the ball, that you're going to have this open downhill
Yeah.
space, especially with, I think, is that Jonah Antonio in the corner? Jonah can shoot
Yeah,
the
he's
ball.
a shooter.
So you know that this guy's going to have to stay a bit
Mhm.
attached. If he doesn't, when you catch this ball,
That's it.
I actually think that you can hit
Yeah,
this pass, right? Like you've shown real capabilities being able to hit those
That's
passes.
really what I'm
transition,
looking at
right?
too. Like I'm looking at the spacing, and if he's coming too close, like I'll probably kick it. But it also like he's so far down, so like I'm coming with full speed. Like that's a poster, That's a
Yeah,
poster.
100%. And then the other thing here I love is just, here while I get the thing back up, look at this catch. That's an out of area catch. Like that's Taryn's a really high level passer. He threw this one just a little bit behind you, right? And you had to go out of your area to catch it. You had to maintain your ability to stay downhill while doing this. And you go up off of 2 feet. You beat Marcus. Is that Marcus Lee maybe around the basket? Real rim protector, right?
Yes, sir.
You beat him all the way to the rim and you get there. The second one, you're going to grab this rebound here.
Yeah.
And what I love is how you kind of, I think, you stop
Yeah.
here, right? And it's clear to me that you're trying to figure out what to look at. What do you see right
So
now?
right now I just see two defenders. So really I'm just, I'm giving hesitation because I'm gonna see if he's picking me up or if he's leaving me. And that's when I take like the next dribble into the middle. because I see Patrick is a little bit behind, and I'm seeing like it's a lot of space in there. Like there's no defenders like back, and I know I can push it in transition. Just beat my guy 1-on-1. So right now I'm looking at Pat a little bit like behind me to see if he's gonna do anything, and then I'm taking like a little hesitation dribble, but he's not really ready for it, and that's when I get downhill.
Yeah, so you're even looking at like a potential dribble
Yeah,
handoff here
exactly.
as you come through. You decide after it looks like Jordan Crawford
He's going.
here decides to commit to this dribble handoff potential. He kind of reads it
Yeah,
well, and you just decide, I'm going to go and I'm going to
exactly.
attack. So, what you do here that I love is you stop, you cross over, you get, is that Magni?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah, it is.
Magni? Might be Magni. Yeah. Um, you get his front foot way out in front when you're attacking downhill
Hmm.
to your right, and then Euro
Yes,
back.
sir.
Because Will's probably, like, at least in my opinion, the best rim protector in this
Yeah,
league, right? Like, he's just enormous. He
athletic.
consistently shuts down the
Mhm.
paint, like, he blocks shots, but even just like the contests are enormous,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And you just attack his front foot and you go, bam, I'm going to cross over. I'm going to change his momentum and make him try and deal with my body control and my
Yes,
athleticism. Your takeoff point here is like pretty far away from the rim, right? Like this isn't an easy
yeah.
shot, but I love how you find a way around it and you still find a way to have the body control to make this shot at the basket. How did you go about kind of developing these difficult, finishes that you're able to, kind of, contort around at
I would
times?
say like during the summer, I usually do like a lot of finishing and shooting and stuff like that, just to like try to keep working on my bag. That's really what it is. Like I remember this summer, like last summer when I was in LA, like that was a big focus on like the slow. I was working a lot on the slow step and my Euro step and stuff like that because I try to develop my bag going downhill. So that was a big focus.
Yep. So this next one here, we're going to get into like early
Yes, sir.
offense, right? Another one from this Tasmania game. And you mentioned on the last one that you were looking at Patrick
Yeah.
Miller, coming around for a dribble
Yes, sir.
handoff. This is again kind of same deal, and you're gonna, deny the dribble handoff and just attack that front foot
Yeah.
again. And another like beautiful drive and finish right at the rim, right? So kind of take me through this play in terms of what you're seeing.
So right now, I feel like I got like a mismatch. That's literally what I see. And I seen Pat coming for the handoff. But if you look at the score too, it's 79-55, and we didn't really have like no momentum in the game by the end of the game. So I try to bring energy. And when I'm looking at the mismatch, I'm like, yeah, I got to take him to the basket. Um, so I'm faking the handoff, going with it to Pat, and then I just see the mismatch and just try to go downhill. Hit him with a move real quick.
So So do you have any, thought here on, for instance, that this could be a switch, or do you know that, based on your scouting that like Tasmania is probably not going to switch this?
Yeah, I feel like I think they focus so much on Pat that they're gonna stay with him. So I kind of knew that he
Mm.
was if he's going under, like either I got to shoot it or I got to take it to the basket. So that was kind of what I was.
Yeah, and it seems like here you also recognize that, you know, Magni is
Yeah,
here in the paint, so you can't really keep going straight downhill this way, right?
exactly.
So you need to cross
Yeah,
back and you need to find just like all this open, empty corner area here if you can find it. Like this is a crazy amount of space, right? Like it feels like that's also what you're recognizing in this
facts.
moment.
And usually I'm usually faster than a lot of players in my position too. So like if I get them a little off balance, I usually have like the what's it called, like advantage on them. If I just take them down with one dribble.
Yep. And then the last thing I kind of want to point out here is you mentioned getting lower earlier, right? Like you mentioned that, your vets were telling you you needed to get lower on your
Yeah,
handle. I mean, this is just like a prime example of it,
yeah,
right? Like, look, you kind of bend here, not quite as much as maybe you could, but you get a little bit of bend here with that
yes,
leg, that front step here. Your front foot is pretty bent there. You can see that your left leg behind it is quite bent. You end up standing up a little bit, but then just even this little bit of bend for you is
yeah,
enough. You know what I
most definitely.
mean? Like you're so big and you're so athletic that you can be able to get that and then have that space and attack. I absolutely loved what you were able to do in transition and early offense this year. I think that's just like such a translatable area for the NBA.
Uh,
Uh, the next piece of it though is the
yes,
jumper, right? And you're able to knock down
yep,
shots. That's absolutely something that I think you are comfortable
yep,
doing. You have kind of an interesting, like, lower
mhm,
half in terms of your
sir,
mechanics. You really do kinda bend those legs in,
yeah.
right? Like, you try and get that's how you generate your powers with, kinda getting those legs in. How did you go about kinda developing that as, like, your way to generate power from your jumper?
I don't. To be honest, I don't really know. Like, that's always like how my shot has been. Because I was working a lot on my shot when I was younger. I could my stepdad always told me like I couldn't shoot no threes until I had like a good form and could knock down some mid ranges.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't really have the power, so I kind of like had to bend down like a little lower, to get the three off. And I feel like I don't know. It's just always been like that since I was younger.
And then you have a beautiful high finish on your jumper as
Yes, sir.
well. So, ball's gonna come up here. That's a just gorgeous extension, high finish. Is there anything you felt like you worked on this year with your jumper to try and, improve where you were with
Yeah,
it?
definitely like a little bit of, like the speed of my shot, like when I'm coming off on the move,
Yep.
because a lot of times when I come in the move, like, because I have like on my catch and shoot, since I have like this low like lower body, like how you see how my knees go like this, like I kind of had
Yeah.
to get like a little lower when I'm coming off the ball. So just like the speed and like how I got to set my feet, I got to get my feet right before I get a shot off and shoot with balance too. That was one of my main things, just keeping my shoulders right and then just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, that's all like, great like shot
Yeah,
prep, right? I think that is particularly when you are relocating around the 3-point line, I think your shot prep is outstanding
for
for the
sure.
most part. Like every single time that you're, going from the corner, you're recognizing here the way for you to get the open shot and the way for you to help your team is by just
Yeah.
lifting, right? Like, at what point do you recognize in Pat's drive here that it's going to make sense for you to lift up from the corner onto the wing?
Really, really right now, because if you see Trent all the way down there, so I just see all this space, and I know like if Pat is gonna go up with it, but if somebody's helping, that means I'm gonna be open, or the corner guy's gonna be open. So that's just why I move up, and this gives us space, and then Pat finds me in this open shot.
Yep. So this next one here, I think is actually like an even more important shot. I know that people like complain about mid-range jumpers and things like that, right? But I think that we're going to see here, this is just such a fun set from
Yeah,
40. He's going to come and just set this little screen for you here, and you're going to run around it and find a shot. But you mentioned shooting on the move, and that is something that, when I talk to
yeah,
teams, they certainly have some questions about with you just
for sure.
because of your shot mechanics, which is something that, isn't a surprise to
Yeah,
you. Like we just kind of explained what the deal is there. But this is the kind of stuff that I think like showcases that no, like you can actually do
yeah,
this and you're going to get better and better at this as you continue to grow and mature in the game, right?
right.
So kind of take me through this play in terms of what you're seeing and what you're reading as you come off of this
Yeah,
screen.
so like we got this play right here. First of all, we're trying to get like an easy layup. So you see where Alex is standing. Alex is kind of like zoning off a little bit. So I'm just looking at all this space. Like, yeah, so like I'm supposed to get a layup like on the right side. And if I'm not open, I'm supposed to set another screen for the other corner guy. But as you see, like Alex is zoning on because he's so tall. So I'm just seeing all this space, and I know I can knock down that shot. So I'm just coming off the screen, see the space, and just let it go because I know it's a high percent.
It's interesting because yeah, I wanted to ask you like it almost looks like so you've got this let's call it like a baseline screen here, and then it almost looks like Taryn is coming down to
Yeah,
like potentially set a pin
it's a
down.
continuous play. So like after the screener is gonna come off Taryn to get the ball, and that's when I set the screen in the corner. And now he's gonna come off and get the try to get the layup on the other side of the rim. But I see that Alex is helping in a little bit too much, and he's zoning off a little bit. So if I come off with speed, he will have no chance to block it. I just try to let it go.
So when you say screener, you mean is that ladder? Is that
A
Akoda? I
coda
can't
is
tell.
AK.
Uh,
So AK is gonna come out.
yeah.
Yeah,
So his idea here is he's going to
yeah.
screen and then he's just going to flip
Nah, so he's
right to the
coming off. He's
basket
coming
with
off
the
a
ball.
Terran screen. Terran is not setting the screen for me for
Oh,
AK. So he's gonna come out to the middle, and that's when Tarsh is gonna hit him with the ball, and I'm supposed to set a screen in the corner for Gould in
oh,
the corner. Yeah,
okay. That's a pretty sick
yeah,
play. That's actually a really sick
yeah.
play. Now that I'm seeing it, yeah, because Terran cuts the screen
Mhm.
short,
Yeah,
right? Like Terran doesn't actually like go all the way
exactly.
through and screen for
Yeah.
AK because I think he also recognizes
Mhm.
Terran's a
Ex
savant. Like he recognizes immediately that you should cut this short because you're coming off this screen with real
Yeah.
speed. That's fascinating. That's a really interesting
Mhm.
play. But getting to your skill set piece of it, right? So you catch this ball here, your momentum is going all that
Yes, sir.
way,
Yeah,
right? It's all going back toward the other
yeah.
basket. And I love how you're able to plant. You're wrong footed when you go up for this shot originally. You realign in midair and then you still knock it
Yes,
down.
sir.
This is a really hard shot, man. Like this is a really, really hard
Yeah.
shot.
I worked in that shot
Have
like
you
throughout
like
the
kind of
season with
yeah,
Coach 40. You know, we had this one drill where there's one guy like coming down and he gets like the reverse layup and the other guy's coming up and getting like kind of that shot just to stimulate just this play, because that option is like there sometimes, So we was working on that a lot.
yeah. It's fascinating because yeah, like this is a shot that like you could end up getting in the NBA. Like you move really, really well without the ball. That's something that like I want to talk about next with you. Is just like I love the way that you are constantly moving, constantly trying to find open areas of the court. I think that you know this kind of shot off of movement is something that could be like a really big weapon for you at the
Yeah,
next level, and being able to find that is going to be
yes,
critical.
sir.
And being able to like showcase that you have a little bit of this in your game. Now extending it back to the 3 point line is obviously a little bit different,
Yeah,
and you're gonna have to keep working on
most
that.
definitely.
But this is the kind of stuff where this stuff is translatable, and this really works. So this next one, this is just one of my favorite, plays from you all year. So you're going to start here in the corner of the play. And I just want people to watch how you move without the ball just throughout this entire play, right? So you're going to baseline flash and then you're going to relocate out to the wing and then you see your man turn his
Yes, sir.
back,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And you just decide, "Oh no, that's right when I can go," right? It almost seems like to start the play though, you guys have like a little action here
It's the same.
that you guys are kind of
That's the
working
same play.
through.
That's the second play
Yep.
from the other tape. It's the same play.
So what this could look like is you could come around this screen here and you could come around here if you see an opening,
Exactly.
or you can
Yeah.
flash kind of into this
Mhm.
area, it looks like
Yes,
here.
sir.
So taking it through again, Pat Miller comes through, screen for you. At what point do you decide to go full baseline cut here as opposed to coming up? Is it because Josh Bannon here, who is guarding
Yeah.
you, is high?
Yeah, that's kinda what I see, I see all this space. So, it's kinda a hard pass with Sam to find me here, but, if he finds me,
Yep.
I'm wide open for either a dunk or a layup. But I don't get the ball, so I just, I keep moving, try to find space so I could be available to get the ball again. Um, and then I just see, as you say, I see he turn his back, and then, it's an easy dump off, dunk.
Yeah. So Josh Bannon here, he's turned his attention this way on this drive because it's an empty side. And he's got to go, and then you just recognize it and you just go.
Mhm.
This is this is super sharp. This is just fantastic off ball movement. I love everything about this. I love how you're constantly aware. I love it how you're constantly trying to find different ways to attack defenses without the ball. That's something that is just super, super important in the NBA because, there are so many unbelievable
Yeah.
players who can play with the ball, right? Uh, every team has 3 guys in the NBA who are unbelievable with the ball in their hands. So when you're a rookie, when you're a second year guy to get on the court, being able to cut and move off the ball and knock down shots, that's so much of getting on the court, right? Did you kind of recognize that from a young
Yeah.
age and kind of think about trying to improve that within yourself and just ways to get the
Yeah, most
ball?
definitely. And also, like, when I was a little younger, I was playing up 2 years, um, when I was playing, with my brother and my cousin. So, I always kinda had to play, like, a little bit off the ball since the other guys was, older and more experienced. So, I feel like that's kinda something, like, that I just got in my nature now that come naturally to me. It's like every time I see spacing,
Mm,
like, I just get in there and, like, I get up pretty quick, so, that helps a lot. But that's something
yeah,
I've had since I was younger, and just, like, I feel like with the European play style, like, you gotta be able to move, like, gotta be able to swing the ball, move off the ball and stuff like that,
yeah,
so it kinda comes easy to me now.
that's awesome. So this next couple of clips here. So this one is from Southeast Melbourne early in the
Yep.
year. You get an offensive rebound, and it feels like what you mentioned early, and this is early in the season as well. So you're probably sped up just from adjusting to the speed of the game as much as anything,
Yep.
right? But, to speak to your point earlier about like being sped up, like this is, this ball comes to you off of an offensive
Mhm.
rebound from Pat Miller. He kind of gives it to you on like a little, I don't know if you want to call it a dribble handoff or whatever you want to say it is, but you see that you've got this empty side to attack against a mismatch that's Owen Foxwell guarding you,
Right.
who's 6'1", something like
Yeah.
that. So you try to attack. He tries to take the flop, like no comment on that. He you see here, I think, and this speaks to your vision, which I think has always been pretty underrated. For people who don't know, when you were playing for the Swedish national team, when you would grab and go,
Yeah.
you would go and attack and you'd make all these awesome passing reads in space and in transition, right? Like you've always really been able to like see the court well and make these high level passing
Yeah.
reads. It's just that, you're playing at a different speed
Exactly.
now, right? And you're trying to adjust to everything that is happening. So, you know, you see is that it's one of the
Yeah.
Sams, it's Wardenberg or Menenga. I
Yeah.
think it's
Bird.
yeah. You see him cutting and you just decide to throw this. So kind of take me through what your thought process is here throughout this
Yeah,
play.
so really, as you say, like I see the mismatch. And one thing I worked a lot with, I remember at Sunrise with Coach Luke, was every time I get a mismatch, because I got the size, I just got to take them out to like a dribble down, because now I can see the whole floor. And if they try to double team me, I can always pass the ball. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And as you say, I see Sam cutting, and I see all this space. But also, I think as you say, it's just faster game. And I feel like I maybe got like a little too flashy here, because I know I got Bull here in the 3-2, who was wide open, which probably was the easiest pass.
Yeah.
Um, but if I hit this pass to Sam earlier, that would probably be a layup. I feel like I maybe got a little too flashy, or you know what I'm saying?
I don't even know that you go a little too flashy. I think that like what happens is like you can literally see
Yeah,
you
because it's a new look.
you almost like second guess yourself in the
Yeah,
minute. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you see Bull like wide open
exactly.
there and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
like, you can see your eyes like even go to him."
exactly. That's the thing. It's a
And
no look pass. That's what I mean with being too flashy. When I could just hit Bull, like that would be the easier pass.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but like again, like you have these long arms too, like almost like if you throw a bounce pass here too, like it might
Yeah, no,
work. You know what I
it
mean?
would.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's just speed. It's speed of the game. And, you're a guy that is, people will look at you and say you're 21 years old or whatever, but you're young in the
yeah,
game, right? Like
yeah.
that's the reality of where you're coming from here still. And this is early in the season, right? Like this is so early on, I think that you can
No, I
pass. Like I
can.
see that you have
Man,
vision.
it's just like, as you say, I've only played like competitive for like 3 years now, so I'm still learning. But I feel like I'm a quick learner, so I'm gonna learn quick. I just had to get adjusted to the speed, and I felt like that came like more by the season, how it went. Um, I'm
Yeah.
still learning, man.
And then the next one here, it's turning a negative into a positive as much as anything for me, right? So, you're at the top here against Illawarra, 9-point game, 7 minutes left. And again, you just see, I I think that's Wardenberg
Yeah.
here, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you see that, Keanu Pinder is super high
Yep.
up. He's got position here. He's got, Ty Webster, if he goes and tries to guard
Mhm.
him, pretty sealed. And you just try and throw this
Yeah.
pass, and it kind of looks like, you just throw it like a touch late, and Keanu's able to get back in there for the interception. So just kind of like, let's run through this portion
Yeah.
first of the play before we get to the second part, which is turning a negative into a positive. But tell me what you're seeing
Yeah,
here.
so like I'm seeing, I picked the ball up and I'm seeing Keanu like I thought he was kind of like coming to double team me a little bit because he was so high up, and I see Sam is in there and even Tosh, and now Ty Webster he got to guard two players, and there's just a lot of space. So I feel like I didn't put too much power in the pass. I probably had to pass it like a little harder because now Keanu can kind of come back and get the steal. Um, but I just see the spacing and how open Sam is. It's just a second too late.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals where too it looks like, this is essentially a ball
Yeah,
screen, right? And it looks like Keanu is going to come up and play two on the ball
exactly.
here in order to like try and deny you. And Sam does a really good job of slipping
Yeah.
it. And
And maybe also had to
it's there
the
for us.
dribble to get like a better angle or hit Taryn who could hit Sam afterwards. It's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a hard angle too.
it's a really hard angle. I think that's a really good point. I think that in Keanu, I think it's kind of baiting
Yeah,
you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I think he's playing at the ball, trying to bait you, trying to get you to throw this ball at the end of the day. And he goes and gets it.
mhm,
But then, here you come coming back, and you just like swat the hell out of it. Right. So
yes,
the thing that I love about, your game is that, it doesn't seem like you really get down too
no,
often, and you always kind of go next play. Like it's not an issue. Like you're always going to try and just play through the whistle and go as hard as you can. And you're an energy giver for your team too. Like
so,
this is a big moment in the game. Like, if they go down and score here off of a turnover,
yeah,
that's like a real, like,
facts,
potential
yeah,
backbreaker for your team,
yes,
right?
sir,
And you just don't let that happen. Like you decide, I'm going to go get this ball. I'm going to block it, and I'm going to make sure that we don't lose that energy.
yes,
Like as much as anything, giving energy is about not losing the energy,
facts,
right? At the same
facts,
token. So I love that you don't quit on the play. I love that you go and make this defensive play. I think it's just such a, uh, like it's the epitome of like who you are on the
yeah,
court a lot of the
yeah,
time to me. So next play here, again, we're going to run into defense now. One thing you did a lot this year was
yeah,
gamble. Like you kind of went for it a little bit from time to time, right? So this one, you go for this gamble early. Just kind of tell me what you're seeing. Is it just like a thing where you trust your tools and you just decide, okay, I'm 6'10, I can probably try and go for this?
yeah. Because sometimes like I feel like I'm pretty quick, and I can like on defense I can look like I don't like I'm not aware, but like it just go like this, and then I'm already like covering like all this space. And that's what I try to do there.
Yeah.
I feel like he was a little casual with the ball. It's like I feel like I could get that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe it was like a little bit much of a gamble because they scored the ball. But also like if I got that ball, we would have been up 5-0, 5-0. So
Yeah, totally. It's one of those things where like it's, early in a game, like you can try and get like an early dunk, energize the crowd. I think this is your last home game of the year, maybe, if I remember correctly. Try and get the crowd into it. You're playing the best team in the league.
so
Having a moment like that is really important. But you miss it, and it ends up being a 4 on or a 5 on 4
exactly,
the other way, right? Where Shea can attack this space here. You're still recovering. You're trying to recover back. Like again, the effort is always there, I think. And that's a big thing of why I think that you have every potential to turn into like a positive
so
defender. The effort is always there. Like there's no worries there, but because it's 5 on 4, you're in recovery, and this is just essentially Pat Miller is going to be in the corner having to guard two here,
exactly,
where he has to deal with him coming down, and then he has is that no, that's not Golding, that's Delhi.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's just tough.
yeah. No,
This next one, This is just kind of a little bit late on the
Yeah.
tag, right? You're just like a split second late on the tag. But this is one where I wanted to ask you a question about defensive structure
Okay.
here. So some teams, and I don't want you to put Pat on blast
Yeah.
here, so like don't do
Okay.
that if it is his mistake. Some teams on short
Yeah.
rolls, which is what Alex is going to do here. He's going to set the screen, and then he's going to roll, and then he's going to stop the
Yeah.
roll. Some teams like to have a guard or the wingman kind of tap
Yeah.
here and be the tag man, especially if there is a shooter in the
Mhm.
corner, especially when, Jesse Wagstaff, not a high level
Yeah.
shooter. Some teams prefer to have the corner man, which would be you
Yeah.
here. So tell me, kind of take me through this in terms of what your defensive structure is, what you're expecting on this
Yeah.
play, and what you're kind of seeing through it. Because this is one of those things where, like, to me, watching the
Mhm.
tape without knowing your structures, there's not a right or wrong
Gotcha.
answer,
Yeah.
right? Until I know what the answer
Yeah.
is coming from somebody that was in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, so I'm so you're right. I'm a little bit late because we always have like the corner, like if even if it's a shooter, you still like if it's not like somebody that's like 50% from the 3-point line, you gotta be in there and like contest the shot. But also like we
Yep.
also wanted like from Pat, like he could have gave him like a little bump, to slow him down a little bit
Yeah.
to give me more time. Because now, like, if I come in and stop Alex, what if he like passes it out to Doolittle? Like now we don't have nobody in the corner. It's a
Yep.
wide open three. So it's like it's also like a little gamble, but like we always the first thing like Coach Forty always says like you got to stop the basket. No easy points. We rather take like
Yep.
contested 3-point shot.
Yeah, and just like you're a touch late,
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah,
Like it happens throughout the course of the season, and like it's good that you recognize it,
yeah,
like you do see
yeah,
it. Like, you are kind of looking. It feels like almost like away from the play to start,
yeah.
like over, like you're trying to like recognize what's happening.
Hmm.
On your side of the court, trying to figure out like, okay, you're almost looking at Pat here and like trying to figure out what's going on with Wagstaff, and then feels like you see it, feels like you see it. And then right when he throws the pass, you do make your first slide step, right? Like you do see it. It's just that, Alex is 7'1" and covers
Yeah,
distance quicker than like any human in this league, realistically, because of how coordinated and athletic he is and long he is. It's just, it's not an easy
yeah.
play, right? This isn't like the easiest thing in the world when you're trying to stop a 7'1" dude short rolling and getting downhill,
Oh,
right?
definitely. And also, like, I feel like I took like a little negative step too. That maybe like it's because if you see right here, if I just go straight, you see how I take that negative step. Like if I just
Yeah. Yeah.
go straight to Alex, like maybe I would have had the time to contest that. But that's something I got to work on too.
Yep. So let's get through a good defensive possession now.
Sure.
So made bucket. You're running. Explain to me what defense you're running here,
So here
because it looks like it could be like a zony kind of trap
Yeah.
situation.
So right now, like we know Perf want to take the ball take the ball down the sideline, and then it's usually like a pick and roll for Bryce. So like when we do that, we want to
Yep.
make him uncomfortable and make him pass the ball away. So we try to double team him, and I'm like a man in the middle, like trying to see where the ball like wherever the first pass goes to, that's my guy, kind of, you know. Um, so it goes to Usher, and now I got to go over and take him.
Yep. And what I like here is you're able to use your feet.
So
You're really, really sharp in terms of using your feet. Looks like, give me a second here. This has got to go back up here. The video ended. You're really, really sharp at using your feet here to stay in front. Once we get the video
so
back up, I love how you're under control here.
so
It looks like you're trying to shade him. I think you recognize intuitively here, you've got one, two guys on this
yeah.
side. And then if you're going to come up, it's better for you to close out on his left hip
Mhm.
here, basically. because you've got the 2 guys in the corner and underneath the basket
Yes,
here,
sir.
and then you stay in front of him.
Mhm.
He's gonna try and we talked about attacking the front foot
Yeah,
earlier. He's gonna try and attack your front foot, but then you just drop your hips,
yeah,
right? I think that your ability to drop your hips, stay in front, stay in front. He tries to like muscle you and bully you, and you just stay big and you stay strong through that play. I think it shows your movement defensively. It shows what I think you could be capable of long term, certainly defensively,
sir.
where you can be a switchable guy. You can be a guy that can guard multiple different
Yeah,
positions, right?
yeah,
So when you play on ball
yeah.
defense, what do you think the most important part of playing on ball defense
I
is?
would just say like to move my feet and try to stay low because sometimes I can stay too high up, so like my hips kind of lock a little bit. So just like
Mm,
try to like flip my hips faster and just move my feet and meet them at the point like point of dribble, you know?
yeah. No, I love the drop step you take here to flip your hips, right? So you're shading them that way, and then you're just going to drop that right leg, right? I think that's like picture perfect in
Sure.
terms of the way you're supposed to go about this.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you have a shot to be like a really good
Yeah.
defender. Like there's your energy, your uh like the fact you care. You know what I mean? Like every time I watch you, it feels like you
No,
care on the
when
defensive
one
end
matchup
in
for
a
me
real
it's
way.
personal. Like I don't want to get scored on, you know. Like that's one thing that's one thing you know like on the pro level like when somebody's have like a mismatch, when somebody isn't really good on defense, like everybody try to expose that, and you don't want to be that guy, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, just using your length, staying big, contesting the shot. Yeah, and you had a lot of like really fun weak side blocks this year. Like I could have pulled a couple of those. You have a few moments where like you did get home gambling for steals, right? Like you had really, really positive moments, I thought, this year on defense.
Shut up.
But you know, there are improvement
Yeah,
areas for sure, as you know, and as we've talked
most
about.
definitely.
So the last thing here that we want to
Yes,
do,
sir.
while I've got you, 5 or 6 questions.
Okay,
We're still trying to come up with a name for this segment. We're still trying to figure it
I
out.
got you.
Rapid fire, like, may ask a couple like follow-ups, but really we're just looking for rapid fire
Okay,
answers to these 5 fun questions here. First one, the best basketball movie of all time in the eyes of Bobby Klintman.
I gotta say, Coach Carter. That's a classic, man. Gotta say, Coach Carter.
I think that's what Alex Sarr said too, for what it's
Yeah,
worth. Uh, it might be a your generation
yeah,
thing because I thought that was like my
yeah,
generation, but maybe people, 21 and younger catching up with Coach Carter. I
yeah.
love
I
it.
feel like it's
Uh,
tough.
favorite musical artist.
Favorite, Lil Baby, definitely Lil Baby.
Okay. Favorite basketball player of all time.
LeBron James, he the goat.
Why?
Because I feel like he the goat. He accomplished so much. He won a lot. You know, you see what he's doing at this age, his age right now. Like it's just unhuman.
The best basketball player you've ever played against.
Ooh, I would probably say Harrison Barnes during the summer runs
Yeah.
because we played a lot of one on
What
ones, and he was really tough.
what made Harrison so tough?
Just his bag, because I remember like me playing defense on him, and I was like right here, and it was still making like a lot
Mm.
of contested shots, and just like his footwork and like the way he moved with his body, because he's like 6'7", 6'8", but it felt like it was like 6'10", 6'11" when he was playing, you know. So
Yeah, he's got some length
yeah,
too. He has the super high release
yeah,
point. Like, Harrison when Harrison was coming up, he was, number one player in the
yeah,
country in the United States. Like he was a
yeah.
dude for sure. He's done an incredible job throughout the course of his career. Everybody I have ever met that's come across Harrison Barnes loves Harrison Barnes, like as a person as
Really cool
well.
to.
Uh, if you no favorite sneaker
Uh,
to wear on the court or off the
I would
court.
probably say Kobe sixes or the Ja ones because that's the ones I'm rocking right now, and I like them a lot. Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't heard much about the jaw ones yet. How are
I
they?
would I feel like they're pretty light, you know, and I like low
Yeah.
top shoes, so and I like the look and the colors they got, so they're pretty tough.
finally, if you weren't a basketball player, what would you be doing?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would definitely be doing like another sport. I would probably play like soccer or like I've gotten into American football a lot now too. Now I've been in the States, I've been watching it a lot, but I don't know if I'm too tall for that, but something like that. I don't know. Probably another sport.
What position did you play when you played
Yeah, I
soccer?
played striker and center back, so defender.
Oh my goodness. So you're just like hitting headers like all
Yeah,
day. It feels like it's six foot
yeah,
10.
but I didn't get my growth spurt until I was like 15, 16. So, I was pretty I was a
Yeah,
little taller than everybody, but it wasn't like nothing crazy. So I just used my speed and my shot.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Did you grow up like, with a favorite soccer
Yeah,
player?
Didier Drogba and Cristiano Ronaldo. That's my
Oh,
favorites.
that's
Yeah.
Drogba was a good answer. I remember playing like FIFA like
Yeah.
10 or something like
Yeah.
that, and Drogba was just like absolutely sick like every
You
single
can shoot from
time.
half court with him and that ball go in.
No doubt about it. That dude was absolutely sick. Bobby, thank you for doing this, man. I really
Appreciate you,
appreciate
man.
it. Um, yeah, this has been fantastic. People, I think, will see from this
Yeah.
interview that, really, really just like engaging, like fun human being to talk to. And I'm really glad that I was able to have you on the show.
I
And,
appreciate
maybe
it, man.
we'll do this again down the road at some
Yeah,
point.
now most definitely. We'll definitely catch up again. And I appreciate you taking the time
Yeah.
too. It's been a pleasure, man.